And so we spruced up what had been the Lingarchan there in Maheshwar, and we scooted the snakes out and the spiders out and the chipmunks out and cleaned it up and installed some looms which were funded by such wonderful people as Shabana Azmi, for example. They all contributed 5,000 rupees, with which we built 12 new looms, the first looms that had been built in Maheshwar for 16 years. The objective was to make that product saleable again, desirable again. And Rewa Society, who made its, Rewa is the Sanskrit name of the Narmada, therefore we chose the name Rewa Society. And its goals from day one were health, education, and housing for handloom weavers, because handloom weavers weave at home. And if they weave in a very broken down, dilapidated shack, it's very hard to weave good cloth and protect it at that time. So over the years, we trained these 12 women, and they first came with great trepidation because they said, "Boot shoot hai idhar, aur kaun kya karega idhar, and what will the Frankfurt wala say," and all this. They were very, very, very apprehensive. But slowly they began to get their weekly salary. And what would happen when they got their weekly salary? It was paid on Monday evenings because Tuesday was market day. Half of their drunken husbands were standing outside the door saying, "Dedo, dedo," like that. And they were drunk and they were violent. And so these women handed it over. Because behind your husband is your mother-in-law also, and that's sometimes even more frightening. So after a few weeks of this, they came to us and they said, "Why don't you open us bank accounts? Why don't you open us bank accounts? And if we earn, say, 500 rupees in a week, we'll take 300 home and we'll put 200 in the bank and we won't tell anybody." So in that way, slowly, slowly, they built up their savings, they built up their confidence. They understood that they really could weave a product that sold well. Their children then started going to the school that we built for those children. They became literate. In the meanwhile, I started a second organization called Women Weave Charitable Trust to bring the focus even more on women, but this time they were not traditional Khandani weavers. They were women who had no employment. And there are so many in India, I'm sure you know that. Maybe most of you, it kind of looks to me like, don't know rural India very well, but in rural India, you have farmers, you have craftspeople, you have banyas, and what else? What have I forgotten? There are a few categories, and everybody else is just sort of miscellaneous, and they don't really have an income earning activity. So we started training these women who had no experience in weaving. And you know what? They turned out to be much better, quite often, than the women who had grown up with Khandani weaving in their families. Because they needed to weave, they needed to earn, they wanted to do something, they wanted their kids to learn something also. So quite often, they became the primary breadwinners in the family. Now, what we've done recently is to start something called the Handloom School. The Handloom School is based on the idea that as in banking, as in sports, as in many of the other things that have been discussed here today, if you've got a big team that coordinates with each other well, you have a better chance of getting your message out, of selling your product, and of awareness raising about the whole thing that's going on. So the Handloom School is based on the concept that traditional young weavers face a very, very bleak future unless they learn to deal directly with the market, not passing through the middleman. Maybe in your lives, some of you have had to do with the middleman, maybe a middle woman, I don't know. It's not fun when you're not in control of your own life, and you could be. So, in the Handloom School, we have weavers from 10 different handloom weaving clusters in the Hindi-speaking belt of India. And you would think that they would have religious issues or caste issues or some other issues. Let me tell you that they meet, and on the very first day when they're all together on this campus, they're like brothers. It's just absolutely wonderful. And that's why I wore this rather long and awkward cloth today, because it was woven by Mudassir, and he got so excited about being able to weave whatever he wanted to weave instead of what the master weaver told him, that he went on and on and on, and he probably would have gone on and on and on. It's not hard to but it's his design. And that's wonderful when you're a craftsperson and you actually get to do what you want to do, right? So now we have weavers from 10 different states of India hanging out there, and how are they staying together? Yes. Right? They're all on WhatsApp with each other all the time. And they're on WhatsApp and they're saying like, what's the price of cotton yarn right now? Where did you get your asli zari? What's the color that everybody wants right now? They're grouping. You know, it's fantastic. And soon they will be able to weave and deliver directly to their markets, to you. You will be able to WhatsApp them and say, my daughter's getting married and I need 50 saris in the various colors. And there should be silk and cotton and they should have asli zari or nakli zari or whatever. And they will be able to supply you with that, which will yeah. And they're not just young men, they are young women right now. We just have a graduate batch of they call themselves the Bunadi group, right? So there are out of 15, 8 have voted to stop their secure weaving for some master weaver, to take a risk and to form a company of their own, the Bunadi group. So if you go to Maheshwar, you can ask for them. You can already deal with them directly. They know how to do costing and pricing and weaving and preparation of your raw materials and dyeing and everything that you need to be a good weaver. So what we would like to be able to say to ourselves, though probably most of you haven't been in rural India very much, we need to understand that maybe part of the strength, I'm not a financial person, of any country is based on how strong it is in the hinterlands also. Those of you who are in finance will know this much better than I do. If we have a weak, independent hinterland, it's hard to move forward. However many bitcoins, is that what they're called? However many bitcoins you put, however much money you make, you're still dealing with a weak segment of society in your country. And believe me, these kids are not longing to move to some metro area. They don't want to move to Bombay or Calcutta or Delhi or whatever. They're very happy where they are. They just need roti, kapra, makan, actually, you know, and that's possible. So look us up on www.thehandloomschool.org. Tell us if you have a skill you'd like to share with us, because we've got teachers sharing their skills with us from all over India. They come and teach business English or color theory or just hanging with the other weavers. I'm happy to answer any questions after this session, because I'd love to share more stories with you. But thank you for your attention just now.
Thank you, Sally. You have created an absolutely inspiring legacy of weavers and craftsmen and all things handloom. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and for doing all that you do. Thank you. With that, I'd like to invite Sayali Bhagat to please speak with us. Sayali, welcome.
A very, very good evening to all you sisters here, respected speakers. It's indeed a deep privilege. Am I properly audible? It's indeed a deep privilege to be talking to all of you, especially at this Women's Economic Forum. Ever since I walked into my prime teens as 19, I became a Miss India. I have taken up missions for women to my heart, and since then, these are the missions of my life, and hence speaking to you at a forum like this is very, very close to my heart. Old Orthodox traditions, cultures, somehow have kept Indian women and finance slightly far away from each other. We are in this rut of trying to be a man. We are in this rut of simple things like sometimes financial independence, or as Madam Holkar enlightened us about employment, or simple things as supporting a family. Women in this country are actually stuck in these really small ruts. Like Madam Holkar, myself, there are a lot of women, and yourself as well, who are out there to reach out to these women and do whatever is in our capacity to really help. But what I'd really, really like to tell you here is something not that philanthropic or not really of such a strong public importance, but something very, very close to my heart and something that's very, very special to me. I'm going to tell you a very simple thing that I have learned of my pageant training, of being a Miss India, and have traveled the world and been the cultural ambassador for a lot of countries and representing India. Dressing, makeup, hair, table manners, these are the most simple things. And a lot of things that were taught to us when we started walking on this path. Alongside, we were taught a very important thing. And they said, no matter what, whether you have the perfect makeup for the day, whether you're not ready for that ballroom evening, whether you're not ready for that speech or you don't hold that wisdom or that intelligence to talk or to represent yourself correctly, never forget to be polite. Never forget to be kind. It doesn't matter, they told us, how intelligent you are, whether you know your subject very well, whether you can answer. I'm sure you guys must be so aware of all these Miss India questions and answers and how famous have they been, and you know, it's always been the talk. They said, doesn't matter. Just keep your voice. And I think this is not just a very important lesson that I learned at 19. I think this is the most important lesson I learned as a woman. This is indeed, today, after this journey of mine, I stand here in front of you as a mother of a 9-month-old daughter. And as she's growing in my arms, and I see all these women, you know, I'm sure all of you have experienced this, or at least those who haven't experienced motherhood know of this. We're actually so busy and yet we have so much of time, with an infant especially, you know, because they're sleeping and they're not exactly conversing with you, but they're just babbling. So basically you're just talking with yourself. And that's the time when all these flashes of these wonderful women and all my learnings cross my eyes, my thoughts. And then I realized that these women were not so perfect. These women were like you and me, very scared sometimes. Sometimes having that fear that they cannot show. They were like you and me, still wanting to do something. And if something that I learned at 19, and I want to now instill in my daughter from the beginning, would definitely be these qualities. Would be these qualities of being compassionate, of being polite, of being kind, of being gentle. I know these are very simple words, but dear sisters, do not underestimate the strength of these. Simple things as these, simple adjectives as kindness, of compassion. In these years, I have worn it as an ornament to be beautiful, because to be polite, to be gentle is beautiful. And of these years, I have also worn it as an armor, because to be tolerant and patient is a woman's armor. I have learned never ever to think of oneself as a weak sex. We are not. If you you how difficult it is to actually master them, you actually realize that we do a tremendous job. I think we should applaud for ourselves as women to adorn these qualities and to exhibit them. As you're walking on this path of not just economic freedom, today women are changing the rules of the game. They're the lawmakers. They're the ones who drive the economy today. Women like you who employ others, who are supporting families, who are reaching new heights. I'd once again like to stress on the importance of these qualities and to remind you, dear sisters, wear these qualities as an ornament because that will make you the most beautiful always, and wear it like an armor because then you'll be never ever defeated. All the very best for you on this journey of yours. Thank you so much.
We'll just ask now, I want to thank you, Sayali, for many things, but you just resonated my heart in so many beautiful ways. So I'll connect with you offline as well. We are rushing for time. Big thank you, and thank you for being here. I'd love Zakia to come and give her address, please. Thank you.
I'll be very brief. I would like to give a message to our sisters here in WEF that philanthropy is good, charity is good, but being woman is also all about our rights to be recognized. Because globally, women are second-class citizens. Doesn't matter where you are born, so-called developed countries, so-called underdeveloped countries, women are second-class citizens. And this is a kind of a situation which can be addressed only if we subscribe to the human rights framework as laid down by the UN, as well as laid down by the Constitution of India. And in that regard, I would like to briefly share the struggles of the Bharatiya Muslim Mahila Andolan, the organization of Muslim women to which I belong. We have recently had 2 huge successes, but before those successes, and even now, our struggle continues. We just won the Triple Talaq judgment from the Supreme Court. Triple Talaq is now history in our country. And last year we won the women's right to entry in a place of religious worship, that is in the Haji Ali Dargah in Bombay. But I can, for paucity of time, maybe I'll keep it for some other occasion to share the kind of hardships that we have faced. It's not as though it was given to us on a platter. I'll just take 4 or 5 minutes, maybe because you are short of time. So, what I would put across to you, what we could achieve as Bharatiya Muslim Mahila Andolan today, if we were able to defeat patriarchy, if we were able to win the Triple Talaq battle, it is because some of us, the Muslim women, got together. And we got the support of women all over India. And Harbin is one of them. And there are several, and of course there are several more. So the power of collective organizing, the power of getting together and demanding our rights. So that is a power that we have seen which has made this possible. I would like to say that we are a multicultural country, we are a multi-religious country. The Constitution of India gives all citizens equal rights, irrespective of gender, irrespective of religion, irrespective of caste and language. But in order for those rights to translate in reality, we have really had to struggle. And that is the message I would like to give to all sisters in this room, that there are so many women who are not part of the privileged world that some of us come from. Most of the Indian women do not have an equal opportunity for education. most of the Indian girls do not have an equal opportunity to empower themselves economically. So together, this situation can be addressed by us collectively, and maybe at some later occasion we can talk about this more at length. And I thank the WEF for inviting me here, and I thank Arvind and all of you for hearing me. Thank you.
Thank you, Zakia. Thanks. Really appreciate your words. And with that, we begin with the awards ceremony. I'd like to invite our guest of honor, Rajiv sir, to kindly give away the awards with Dr. Harveen. And our first awardee this evening is Sally Holkar. Sally, we want to congratulate